You're listening to DC on Screen. In just a moment, Jason and I will be discussing the new DC film, Blue Beetle, in spoiler-filled detail. If you haven't seen it, you might want to save this one for later. If you have, we'll be digging in right after these words from our mystery sponsors. Welcome into DC on Screen, the podcast bringing you news and reviews for the DC multiverse on film and television since 2015. I am your host, David C. Robertson, and this, your co-host and mine, Jason Goss.
Hello.
We have seen Blue Beetle.
We have. Both of us. How many does that make?
2.
That have seen it?
Maybe 2. No.
There were at least a dozen people there with me at the time, so we can count for them.
Yeah. It did. It fell a little short. It fell 5 million short of what they expected it to.
What was the number over the weekend?
I think it was 25 something. 25,030,225. Worldwide, 43,630,225.
Oh, a little better.
So, yeah.
Did it release everywhere yet? Like China has it?
Well, I don't know about China. I don't remember. I think so. Maybe not. Maybe China hasn't yet.
Like if China gets it opening weekend, you basically just slap another 25 million on it.
Yeah, I don't see on Box Office Mojo. I don't see China listed. Oh,
okay.
Specifically,
Isn't it being PG-13?
Let me look. Yeah, PG-13.
13. Okay.
So yeah, it just lists domestic, and then Mexico, Brazil, Indonesia, India, Thailand, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Philippines.
Fair enough.
So I don't know, but it's really funny, as I don't know what to think. My damn self.
I mean, I get it. I just don't think the movie had much opportunity for success, frankly. But just to come out of the gate swinging here, like, fucking go see it. This was a lot of fun, man.
It was. I liked it.
If anyone's on the fence or didn't care about your spoiler warning and they're just curious, like, turn it the fuck off right now. We'll see you later.
Yeah, but I liked it. Go check it out.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect movie.
No, God, no.
They're rarely perfect movies.
Yeah, there's almost no such thing. But
then again, you have like that, that old saying that every movie is a miracle. So, I don't know.
Cracks me up. I've never thought of it before, but basically, like, the turning point of the entire Watchmen story is something like that. Like, the fact that you exist alone is a miracle.
Yeah. There's the...
Man was just talking about his own graphic novel. Really?
There's that guy on YouTube who does all those...
Alan Moore's way too arrogant to think he was a fucking miracle. He probably thought that was fucking manifest destiny.
Oh, of course.
Snake God. And it was bound to happen.
Yeah. No, there's this guy on YouTube who's always saying, or did for a while anyway, that making a movie was like hitting a target from space.
Yeah. I remember that phrase.
Yeah.
I think you told me that at some point.
I think I first heard him say that on his Scream retrospective. He was just like talking all about the first Scream movie and how it was just such a weird miracle that movie even happened in the first place. And it also didn't open that great, but it wound up having like really good legs. And
yeah. Oh, it stuck around. Yeah. It does crack me up though how like a creative thinks that way, like hitting throwing a dart from space. Is the creative conception of that thing, whereas the other way around, like, no, we're gonna send this thing so that it'll get a picture of Pluto. Like, oh man, that's crazy. Like, how lucky do we have to be? None. I just did the math. I mean,
yeah.
Like, well, what percentage chance is it we'll get? Like, literally, if we get hit by an asteroid. Other than that, it's just guaranteed. What's the confusion here?
Yeah.
Well, how do you know about the asteroids? I can't see them. Otherwise, I would make calculations for it. If I could see them, I would just plan for it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it is really funny to see how all of this is playing out because, Warner Brothers just came out today and said that they anticipated that Tropical Storm Hillary would have a significant impact on the box office for Blue Beetle in the Los Angeles market.
It's actually not crazy.
No.
I mean, yeah, to that 5 million might be legit where that went.
Yeah, it was the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in 84 years. It broke virtually all rainfall daily records.
Yeah, and lot of other shit.
There was L.A., by the way, the number one market for Blue Beetle, was hit by rain, flooding, mudslides, and rock slides over the weekend.
So, not a lot of people get to slide into that box office.
Right. And, that they're not saying it here, but I'm pretty sure that the reason that LA is the number one market is because that's where, like, most of the Latinos in our country are.
Oh, it's a deeply Hispanic market, for sure. Yeah.
So...
Like that was the thing that I was mentioning before is like, man, the marketing, I don't know. You said it was more there than I thought it was for sure, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was absolutely going to have to be like, man, the Hispanic community was going to have to be there for this movie.
Yeah. And they did. They said the storm's impact is anticipated to be significant, particularly in Southern California, where the film is over-indexing. And they did list the top 10 Blue Beetle markets as being, in order, Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, San Francisco, Houston, Chicago, Phoenix, Atlanta, D.C., and Philadelphia. Yeah.
I'll only bet this. And just watching it and the love that's in this family and how much I enjoyed the movie myself. Man, I think when you guys actually, get out there, I think you're going to love it.
Yeah. Right. In my theater, we had, it was not a huge showing, for sure, but it was me, 5 Hispanic families, and one other family. I will just say they're not white. But they were the family who was literally mocking all of the heartfelt scenes in the movie and being really racist and yelling out "Dios mío" and stuff like that. It was not okay.
That shit
and just
okay.
Laughing their dicks off. They were the cleverest people that's ever. Oh my god, it pissed me off so much.
Like a shitty fucking Muppet review people.
Yeah, it was annoying.
Yeah,
but
that is annoying.
The other families, the kids gasped in the appropriate places. There were, appropriate chuckles. Like the humor that fell flat for me made the kids laugh.
Yep.
So, it's one of those things where, I felt better about it. I'm like, that's not funny to me. But I'm literally listening, children laugh in a language I don't understand. So, I'm like, you know what? Cool.
And I caught some of that. I'm so fucking rusty. There are moments where they would transition to Spanish, and I could get either at least the gist of what that sentence was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, probably 30%ish maybe that I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I understood what happened in that sentence. But what I am very sure about is man, I'm pretty sure there was way more cussing in this movie than the English version would let on. I'm quite sure I heard asshole.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure I heard motherfucker. If not motherfucker, I definitely heard pinche.
Okay.
I think there may be a reason there were no subtitles. Is my point.
Getting around that MPAA, man.
Just getting around anyone who wasn't paying too much attention.
Yeah. So we can actually get into the.
I think there were subtitles though. I am wrong about that, right? There were subtitles at times.
There were sometimes,
but just in some of the little moments where they were just chatting with each other for a second,
right?
They were left out,
right?
Because I remember a lot of the grandmother's stuff. I just kind of reading. I just remember reading that and damn, what's her backstory? Fuck.
Mm-hmm. One more thing, really, before I want to just talk about the movie. It is hilarious to me to look at these headlines because you can really get an idea for who these websites are based on where they stand with DC and Warner Brothers because of how they spin the box office. And just looking up Blue Beetle box office, I'm seeing, Blue Beetle on Vulture.
Terrible fucking search to go through.
I know. Beetle.
Sorry you had to do that. You've done a service for the rest of us, sir. I appreciate your sacrifice.
No, this was funny. Because I kept seeing different headlines and going like, "Oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad." And I just like looked it up, and I get a list because I just go right to Box Office Mojo, honestly, if I actually want to know.
Yeah.
But Vulture says Blue Beetle box office tops Barbie with 25.4 million. Okay, that sounds good. CNN, Barbie unseated from top of the U.S. box office. Don't even mention Blue Beetle. Okay. Collider, of course. Blue Beetle global box office.
Are we proud of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Collider, though. Blue Beetle global box office lands underwhelming debut. All right. The Direct, of course. Warner Brothers suffers worst ever DCEU superhero box office opening overseas. You see how, like, it's just either or.
Yeah. There were a bunch of fucking aggro chads really mad that, like, a female film just made it in general.
Yeah.
So do you think it's possible that they were like, a thing with blue?
Yeah. And, like, because it's not like...
The thing with blue won. We're back on top, baby. Yeah, after they made, like, $2 billion fucking dollars, you piece of shit.
And that was my next point. My next question was, how many of these who were like, like Entertainment Weekly here says Blue Beetle squashes Barbie as #1 movie at the box office? Is that like a pro DC thing, or is it just an anti Barbie thing? Like, what's the...
And given that it's Margot Robbie, like, where the fuck does that stand in between? Because that is.
Yeah, because
that is right in between those.
Dude, Blue Beetle is not going to make $1 billion.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's just not.
200 after all is said and done would be pretty impressive as far as the home sales and box office goes. I'd be amazed if it made it that far.
Yeah,
but God, I hope. I know based on some of the stuff that I saw right before the film was released. I forget the guy's name, the Jaime's name, but the actual human that's Jaime.
It's Jaime.
Jaime, okay.
I swear to God, man, the way you're saying it is actually a slur for Jewish people.
Is it?
It is
wonderful.
Actually, yeah,
wonderful. I hope someone listens to this in another language and just knows that one thing, and for some reason listened 15 minutes in to just think, "Fuck, Jason's so goddamn racist."
I'm just letting you know, man. I don't want you to. I've told you this before, actually. I just don't think you remember.
No, I didn't. No. I'll look that up later. I'm a visual learner anyway. I'll take a look later so it ingrains itself a little better. So the main character, whom I will leave unnamed for the rest of the episode. Sorry, guys. I'm literally a little bit sick and tired, so I don't trust myself right now. Yeah, like I forget where I was going with this. Oh, no. I had seen him mention that he had talked to Gunn a little bit, just in maybe in passing. Like, felt like a Zoom meeting or something, the way he mentioned it. About how it does depend on the performance. You know, it has to have some numbers to be able to stay in the universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, again, we can almost keep a count of how many times I've said, like, please go watch it because it was good and make sure it's included. I would love to see the inclusion of this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it means, they're like, sorry, Mr. Soto, we're not doing a sequel, but it did well enough that we're going to, like,
pull it in here,
grab Reyes, bring him over into Booster Gold for the show. I was just talking to Effie.
I mean, that'll work.
Oppelders.
The movie has legs, not just because it's a freaking beetle with 8.
Yeah, I was just talking to Effie, though, about how they could bring that over into Booster Gold without doing a sequel. And, spoiler alert for the end of the film, we find out Ted Kord is still alive. So if, like, Ginny, kind of pops back up.
2 seconds ago, everyone. That was your last chance to back out and not be spoiled. You were warned. You were warned.
Jenny pops up and goes over. If Jenny pops up and goes over to Jaime and says, "Dude, my dad's still alive," and they're like trying to figure out where he is, and they're like, "Actually, he used to hang out with this dude named Booster Gold, but no one's seen this guy in years." And it was like let's pull Booster Gold out of retirement, who's been like licking his wounds ever since he lost his best friend and wasn't able to save him and hasn't been able to find his purpose, and he was always a joke anyway, and then Jaime could in turn, after learning his purpose, help Mike find his purpose in being Booster Gold and finding Ted.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that
beautiful. I'd cut I'd cut a check for that sequel right now.
Right?
I mean, not right now because it would expire before the fucking writer's strike is out.
Right.
And just have to cut it again. But
yeah,
90 days or more or less from when that's supposed to end.
Yeah, there are ways to continue Jaime Reyes' story without doing a tentpole Blue Beetle sequel.
I agree.
On the other hand, look, man, this movie cost between 104.
Like, it's not like you can't do it. I mean, all of the reach and all that, or there's so much potential for all of the other colors of Beetle that like you really could just do this movie with all of that fantastical bullshit going on.
Yeah,
and it'd be a great movie, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the box office. If they don't, start picking up after the tropical storms, if next weekend looks way worse than this weekend, you know what I mean? Like, there might be a way for them to rescue it from the wreckage, because I do not believe that this movie is bad to the degree that it should be a flop.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's a bad movie.
I mean, I agree. I've agreed the last couple times out, though. Like, I don't think The Flash should have been a flop at all. It had all the hallmarks of a movie that would have done way better had it just been born at a different time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know there were issues with both, of course. But, like, this was a solid film. I think I said before, like, yeah, no, it's just a superhero origin story thing.
Yeah.
They just did it well.
Yeah.
Graphics were on point. I mean, story had heart to it. The family as like supporting cast is fantastic.
Agreed.
It's the most I've ever liked George Lopez.
Right.
By a very long margin.
Yeah, he had his dumb comedy shtick in there a little bit, like the annoying screaming and saying stupid shit. But
I mean, honestly, though, that was just like the first couple of intro scenes. After that, I was really invested in him.
Like, yeah, you know what? I think what was funny is like the apex of my annoyance with him when Jaime came back with the taco, the truck, as that's what he referred to. It was a Tacoma. Mm-hmm. He called it the taco, and these guys were,
I would absolutely redo the letters if I owned a Tacoma and just make it Mataco.
Yeah.
Just re-glue them down.
So, Cord's lackeys are shooting him up, destroyed the truck, and when Lopez sees the truck, because it's his truck, he screams a bunch and then falls over against a wall and faints. And that was the apex of my annoyance with him. That was just like, and I think like after that, they got like super serious because they didn't have very much more to go before like that heart-rending raid on the family house.
Yeah, the house after the house gets raided, this movie, before the raid, I think this is what you're saying. Sorry if I cut you off. But like, I think before the raid, it was a little bit silly at times. And then after the raid, it's I don't know. I got very invested. First of all, they did the raid scene extraordinarily well.
They did.
Like, I was so mad for that family watching this thing.
And like it felt like it was straight out of like a news report.
Yeah.
Like I had flashbacks to freaking Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Like it was rough.
It was. But then like for the rest of the movie, it's almost like you watch that little crucible happen and genuinely for the rest of the movie I cared way more about all these characters. I'd seen them go through some shit.
But that raid scene and the subsequent fight outside feels never ending, but in the best possible way.
A little bit.
Because it's just anxiety. But it's exactly what they needed to do. And at the very beginning, the very beginning when they were like, "Oh yeah, Dad had a heart attack," I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna die."
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they hung the lantern a little bit on that one.
Yeah,
but I don't mind it. I mean, there has to be some sacrifice to get you invested sometimes. But
yeah.
To that end, they played it well. Like I actually kind of like I choked up actually pretty hard later when the grandma was like, "Now we can cry."
Mm-hmm.
That was
that
was a really good envelope right there.
By the way, I've been seeing some stuff on the internet. If one of your biggest problems with this movie was that he talked to his dead father in a dream sequence, and you're saying it's a Wakanda Forever ripoff or something,
or Black Panther. Like, we've been doing this for 60 years.
Yeah, I know.
Go watch more movies if that's a problem.
But if that's your issue, I don't ever want to hear you talk about how much of a masterpiece it was for Clark to talk to his dead dad in BVS on top of that freaking mountain.
I agree.
Just suck my dick.
I agree. It's a trope.
And suck my dick and munch my coochie.
It's been going on since fucking Shakespeare, man, or before. Like, that's not new.
Oh my God.
And I do that all the time. Like I have dead relatives, but I can lucid dream. So sometimes in the dream, when I realize I'm hanging out with somebody that I haven't, that I know is dead, I'll literally think to myself like, well, I know you're dead, but let's hang out for a while, and I'll just stay in the dream and chat.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't do that because I don't lucid dream, but
it can suck sometimes, but it has benefits. Like you can hang out and chat with people that are gone now, and they're gone. But
yeah, it's like I acknowledge in the dream that like the person is dead. Like I know they're dead and they're not supposed to be there, but it's like in my head I'm like, well, I can't talk to you. You're dead. So I'm just like, oh hey, talk to you later.
No, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, that's what it is. I just walk away. Like okay.
No, I just kind of finished the thought. I guess like, oh hey, you're not supposed to be here, but hold tight.
Right.
Let me do the thing where I realize this is a dream.
Yeah. And if I was smart, I would be like, oh, hey, are you here from the afterworld to tell me my true purpose or something? Like, do you have information for me?
I do occasionally, like when I wake up from that kind of dream where I've done that, occasionally I'll wake up and be like, well, I remember it. I know what they told me. I know that's just me flavoring my version of this person as they talk to me.
You don't know that.
I know it within reason. Like
you guess within reason.
I'm not guessing.
You don't know.
I'm assuming because that's the most likely explanation, and anything else needs more evidence to. Or the extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Get there, and then we'll talk. But yeah, like I'll occasionally just have that moment and enjoy it. Have some thought that I thought was profound in my dream. Wake up and know like, yeah, I know. I mean, that's not. That was just me talking to myself, but like through what I think would be their eyes. But yeah, maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody. Going back to George Lopez. I've given him a lot of shit since he was cast in this movie, and I don't care for the man's comedy. But when
I feel like I should go back and vet that comment, not yours, but we both said it. I feel like sometimes I should just go back and like watch maybe like one comedy special and see if I actually feel that way, or if I just never have actually cared for the guy.
I don't think you need to. But that's your call. I will say this,
I've been surprised before.
I was shocked because when they called on him to do some actual drama in this movie and to actually like say stuff.
Oh, he was there.
Dude, I cried.
Yeah, he stood up.
When he was sitting there talking to Jaime, and he described himself as the broken promise or the unkept promise that sleeps on his brother's couch. Mm-hmm. That shit hurt. Yeah. I cried. That was rough, man. Yeah. And man, was I rooting for him after that.
I know. I kind of get it too. Like that's a weird kind of a black sheep sentiment that I feel that a little bit.
Yeah. I know this is a point of contention for a couple of people that I've seen, but the gun-toting granny, it is silly. But
yeah, it's silly. It's also fun. Who cares?
At the same time, like I read an interview with the director, who was talking about like, no, these women were revolutionaries. you see them now and you're like, oh, that's just a sweet old granny. What's there to be afraid of? Like, no, they've been through some shit.
There were some bad bitches back in the day.
And I loved that, like, there was like this hidden past for their grandmother, and she was just like, they're like, what did you do? Don't worry about it. I'll talk to you later about it. Like, Jesus. But like I did laugh really hard when she just started mowing down soldiers with that gun and screaming, die imperialists. I laughed so hard. Like,
I kept thinking about that through the movie. There's just no love lost on the kind of literally faceless pawns that were just always in SWAT gear.
No, that was a thing I actually really liked about the movie. Again,
I don't mind it at all. I mean, like, you signed up for that team. You're as Mitchell and Webb put it, you're one of the baddies.
We one of the baddies.
Yeah, shit goes bad sometimes for the baddies.
Yes, but on the concentration camps, we literally have skulls.
They can't be good.
Look, I really loved that. One, Jaime is young, and part of, like, he is in a lot of ways like the heart of the family, and he is young. He's been to college, but he has a compassionate heart, and he doesn't want to kill. He doesn't kill. So much so that he actually influences the Scarab.
Yeah, the Scarab comes around to his point. Like,
meanwhile, his family has no qualms. Just murdering folks.
Just shit has got to be done.
Like, they are old enough to realize, no, we gotta kill all these people.
You don't win certain battles by being the good guy. And sometimes you gotta fuck some stuff up.
And you know what? I would not consider myself a Motley Crue fan, but
God, no.
The fact that George Lopez's character is Blast and Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue while he is mowing down people in the bug. And, like,
I mean, it makes for a fine scene.
Stabbing them with, like, his little, like, leg gauntlets and stuff. Like, oh my God. Yeah. That got me pumped.
I mean,
and I felt dumb.
For Iron Man, I really like the intro with AC/DC too, and the outros. I hate the music. Sorry, I know that would piss a lot of people off. Not my bag at all.
I don't know why it would piss anybody off. I know it will, but I mean, I loved it. I'm not a big AC/DC guy. I'm not a big Black Sabbath guy. Bigger Black Sabbath guy than AC/DC, but
probably bigger Black Sabbath than anything else we've mentioned so far. But like, as far as a scene goes, I don't have to like the band to know that, like, oh no, that made for a really fucking cool moment.
Yeah,
it doesn't all have to be fucking Nine Inch Nails and Tool or some shit, like stuff that it would be more my wheelhouse if I were just picking.
Yeah,
ain't always gonna be Zack Snyder's soundtrack, I know.
And here's a comedy beat that I actually laughed at that I did recognize was dumb, but I had a specific reason for laughing at it. The bug fart scene. Do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Where he, like, flips a switch that says bug fart, and, like, the hover bug or whatever, like, starts shooting out gas and knocking everybody out, but making this obnoxious fart sound. And I laughed so hard, not because it was a fart, precisely, but because that is one of the most Ted Cord things ever. Like,
because he would absolutely think that was hilarious, and
he would absolutely, Ted would think that was hilarious. And I adored that line that George Lopez said in the movie earlier, where he said, where they're in the Beetle cave or whatever, and he says Blue Beetle was like Batman with a sense of humor.
I mean, yeah, that's
I laughed my dick off of that. It was perfect.
That's about right.
It was so good.
I have nothing wrong with that take. I don't know. I can't improve upon that as a blurb for what Blue Beetle really was like back in the Ted Cord days.
By the way, did you notice who played Ted at the end?
No, I meant to look that up. Who was it?
I looked it up and it said Will Wheaton.
Really?
If that's what they do for a sequel,
I'm in.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
He actually does have some facially similar things with Susan Sarandon, so... Hell, it would even make sense there. I don't know. Something about their mouths looks similar to me now that I'm thinking about those two standing next to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's something there.
I mean, speaking of Susan.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like she's a pretty rote kind of villain in this one. Like nothing extraordinary about her background as far as like how she became kind of the asshole here. Mm-hmm. But nothing wrong with it either. I mean, it's straightforward, but well acted and well written as far as making sure we had somebody we were rooting against.
Yeah.
But then you give us that little crossover where the other where Dude Man gets the the kind of Dude Man gets the mock powers.
Dude Man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I told you I'm not here today, man. I'm not. I'm giving it 100%, but there's like 70 in the tank.
It's like I don't remember seeing Bro Man from the Fifth Flow.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know what that is, go look up Bro Man on Martin. All of his scenes are gold. That was such a good show.
I do remember that being a good clip. He not a good clip. I watched that live a lot of times when I was a kid. But
it's like a 7-foot tall dude, and he's wearing like tiny little Martin Lawrence's bathrobe, just walking out of his bathroom. Like, Bro Man, what the hell are you doing here? It's my apartment. Mm-hmm. It's like, my bad.
That was a good running
just
bit.
Oblivious.
It'll be on my way. Given him the turnaround that he had, I mean, she's dead. She dead, right? Like,
I mean, we didn't see a body.
I mean, we didn't, but
for either one of them.
And like, maybe he has a chance. Maybe he has a chance given the armor, but like she's gone.
Maybe
within all possible reason.
Or maybe he just wanted them to think that they were dead and he shielded them from the blast in some way. Or made like a false blast.
Yeah.
So, and then he's like tormenting her somewhere, for the rest of her life.
He just got her
because of what she did to him.
Sedona, Arizona, just torturing her under a rock somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably with crystals and a bunch of shady order from Gwyneth Paltrow's website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Like, what is that? Oh my God. It's a vagina egg. No!
It's made of granite. Not that one.
What are you burning? It's a vagina candle. Why is this a thing? Damn you, pepper pots.
Where does that go? Under your armpit. Oh, that's a nice break. Yeah, it's lava. Oh, fuck.
It's lava that was nested in a duck's vagina.
It's a stick. Back to the vagina again. God damn. You know what? Just stick it in my fucking armpit vagina and kill me. Can you hit the artery that's under there a little bit? Just do it under the left arm. I think there's something very deadly under there. Just try your best. I'm done here.
Oh God.
It's Gwyneth though. Yeah. I don't know why Gwyneth has to do this herself, but
I don't know. But I think one of the best things to come out of that whole debacle was Mira Sorvino's turn as a Gwyneth Paltrow type that Haley works for on Modern Family, who is she's basically doing exactly what Paltrow was doing, just has like some beauty company that's full of like bullshit snake oil, feminine products that don't work.
Yeah. Still amazes me that she literally named it something as nonsensical as goop. I want to say it is.
And, yes.
And like somehow that was okay. I'm just very confused.
Oh God. But yeah, Blue Beetle, man, I liked it. I thought I could have used a little more exposition, and I will almost never say that.
That is true. So elaborate on your exposition. I love asking for that. The irony is chef's kiss, but
they did a really good job with some of it, I felt. But these things are subjective, but my points on exposition were, one, I feel like I could have used a little more exposition on how much gaslighting and Carapax had been given, because we knew it was a lot.
It was a lot,
but
his scenes were powerful. Like his background was powerful. I wouldn't mind seeing that a little bit more of that. Yeah, that could have used maybe a minute or two more of screen time. I think it would have been well used and powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there wasn't enough of a... they didn't clarify enough that he was missing huge chunks of his memory.
Did feel like that was kind of a reveal, but I don't think that part for me was... I think that was sufficient for me.
Yeah, it was sufficient, and I can kind of brush it away and being like, look, she wrecked his life, her people, and then
on a whim,
a whim, and then grabbed him because he was so injured, and just as a child, and decided to gaslight him his entire life and be like, I'm the one that saved you.
This is extraordinarily popular as far as a thing that's really happened in human history, by the way.
Absolutely. A thing that's really happened. Absolutely. I'm just saying, not everybody got it.
Yeah.
And I know they didn't. There was also a little bit at the end where they didn't make it quite clear exactly, like, was he regaining his memories? Was it the blue beetle? Which I assumed, and I had to assume, that when they transferred the code from the scarab over to him, it healed him slowly as it did Jaime, after it merged with him. But I assumed it healed his memories.
I suppose I did too, and I hadn't thought about it. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have minded putting a pin in that a little bit more. Or a point to it, I guess.
Now, we did have that scene when he was getting the code put into him, and he heard her say, it's a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. And he, like, jumps and kind of looks at her like, I remember that. That's what you said to me.
Yeah.
Or about me. So, but, yeah, I assume, because
back in the day,
you can't say
he definitely a bit.
You can't say he definitely remembered it right then, because he still, like, tried to kill Jaime for, like, a good 20 minutes. But,
yeah.
I
assume out his feelings, really. I mean,
I have to assume that the suit or the code slowly healed his brain enough that he could remember.
I'm happy to assume your timeline on this. I feel like there's something that I'm forgetting that was like slightly more obvious, but I'm just gonna have to default to your memory on this one about it being a little vague.
Well, before they put him under, or before they started pumping the code into him, the scarab code, he did pull out his little fob, and he had like the picture of him and his mom, and Sarandon took it from him and put it in her pocket and said, "I'll keep that safe."
Yeah, I mean, he had the locket or
so he had some like fleeting memory of his mom.
Yeah, or at least something that he'd. I think. Okay, watching that, I think I couldn't tell for sure, but I guess it didn't matter altogether. If that was just like a fleeting memory of his mom, or if that was just something that he knew was important to him and he couldn't quite put a pin in why.
Yeah.
And
that's,
like some anchor that he just knew, like some part of him, whatever those neurons were still there somewhere. He just couldn't get to them.
But I do appreciate that for the fault in that, the fault in the small bits of missing exposition. And look, if given the choice, I'll take less exposition so I can assume, rather than so much exposition I feel like I'm being talked down to.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
you disclaimed that before this section of the podcast.
I will.
And I agree.
I will take
I agree. I like a good story, but I also just kind of want, how to put it? You don't want so much story that you feel like a toddler was telling you this, or that it was supposed to be told to one. Yeah.
Yeah. For what they were going for and what they did in the movie, though, I think him revealing his true, or getting his full backstory at the end is important. Is more, I feel like it's better that they did it that way, so that the audience knows his backstory as soon as he does.
I'm good with that.
And then we see the turn.
As a storytelling moment, that's pretty good.
Because if we had gotten it earlier, we would have suspected the turn far more than we already did, which I already did when he was at the very beginning, when he was like, I remember what you did to me. And she was like, I saved you. And I'm like, she's a
There's
gaslighting
something
bitch.
there. That's gonna be a thing.
Well, when he like stood up and like started overloading his system and grabbed her, I was just like, yeah, like,
Get her.
I was so happy with that. I was really shocked by how into it. And by the way, the CGI in this thing looked fantastic.
It really did. I'm deeply surprised. And while I say that, it's tell me if I'm wrong about this. I remember there isn't actually that many like true ass fight scenes, like real CGI usage. I mean, the ship is one thing that actually would take a lot of that. But like if you take the ship out of the thing, like if it's just Blue Beetle, and I guess Carapax, it's not that much of the film. I mean, it's probably about like 18, 19, 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's not that much, but also they shot a lot of it practically.
Yeah, I did see that. I've seen footage of that guy getting dressed, and it's A, a little bit shorter than I thought it would be, and B, looks fantastic when he's just standing there in a white room. Like they did a fantastic fucking job with this suit.
Yeah, I want all the toys.
Yeah, gorgeous, and like his version of Blue Beetle should be that gorgeous. I mean, I love that blue. Like I'm a person who has shades of blue that I love more than others. Like my first, second, third, and fourth favorite colors are probably blue. Just ask me what shade. And yeah, this one's one of my favorites. It would surprise me to find out that this looked, well, let me put it this way. If this looked as good as it did look in this movie, it would surprise me to find out that I didn't love the fucking visuals. And I did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that much of the movie, and I don't feel like they could have put that much more in the trailers without giving away more of the movie. So I kind of
they put out a lot of clips of the fights and stuff, and it did give away a lot.
I know, but
it was annoying.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't feel like they could have done more. I feel like you said, they probably got as close as they possibly could, and possibly too far on top of that. But like, so much of the movie just needed to be watched rather than a trailer, I guess. I kind of wish I could have seen this thing without one in some ways.
Yeah. Well, the trailers didn't look great. The
storyline in the trailers looked so chunky and just like you've seen this 1,000 times, and to
in some ways
extent,
it was that.
Yeah, but to some extent, yeah, you have absolutely seen this 1,000 times. But they did it well. But I feel like the moments that they did really well, if I'd put that in the trailer, it would have given the whole thing away. So it was kind of a weird marketing conundrum for me.
Yeah.
I do get why, in certain ways, we didn't know more about it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, while we have seen a lot of this, I liked kind of the way they did. I was talking to Effie Oppelders last night, and she was talking about how she felt like Jaime was just like a bland cardboard character with no real personality. She doesn't know who he even was. And I was like, for that age, a kid who's been like, I was like, they made a point of saying that he had his nose to the grindstone trying to get through college so that he could do something with his life. And he was pre-law, which means that he's going to need more schooling, but now they can't afford schooling. And his entire arc is, I don't know who I am, and I don't know what my purpose is.
I forgot about that. I kind of related to that, like as someone who needed grad school to finish their professional endeavors.
He couldn't
afford it.
He can't afford grad school. He can't afford to go to law school now. They're losing the house. Like, they've never had much of anything. His character, I mean, why would he be pre-law unless he was going to be trying to go to be a lawyer to help people in his community and help people like his family? Like, this is a kid who's deeply concerned with helping and making things right and justice and stopping people like Victoria Cord, who's destroying everything and hurting people to get what she wants. And one could even argue that's why the Scarab chose him.
Yeah, and I mean, given that they put it in this particular kind of family's background, I really loved it even more. It's someone who could have just spent his time worrying about just himself or just his family, but clearly was thinking about a route where ultimately he would have more effect on more people. That was nice. And you see throughout the whole film that, like, yeah, that family is like that's his backbone. That's, that's what keeps him held up. But yeah, like he clearly made choices that just, dear God, I mean, it was such an admirable kid at the end of this movie.
I think he was throughout the whole thing, honestly, but he just wasn't. He didn't realize what his purpose was. He wanted to get rid of this thing that was his purpose, the scarab. Of course, I would want to get rid of a alien creature that was embedded in my back anyway. But
oh no,
you know what? I say that, but
I don't know. We're different in certain ways.
Yeah.
The moment I realized that was a thing, the moment it took me to space and I felt safe, I'd be like, "This is my life now. Everything else can fuck off."
Yeah, yeah. The minute it healed my back.
That's actually a really good point.
It embedded itself in my back, and I look like I have a big, like a
it's
giant
a bit ugly.
zit on.
Maybe we shouldn't have one of those like ceiling mirrors for the bedroom or anything. But like,
right?
Whew, I feel great. I hadn't felt this way since I was 11 and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I don't have any like muscular schedule. My muscles and my skeleton are fine. So like I don't have anything going on with that. It would just be that for me, I'd be like, oh, I have super eyes now. That's my life. We're good. My back's a little bit ugly. I'll make arrangements. We're gonna buy different types of shirts.
Yeah.
But this is me now, and I guess I have this buddy back here, and apparently they listen if you insist on something enough. So like. We good.
Yeah. Oh, let me just point out real quick. In talking to Effie Offpelders last night, good friend of the show, been on the show.
Stealing the remote, the whole thing.
Yeah. Someone I would say was one of my best friends at this point. As I talk to her damn near every night. She did not like this movie, really at all. We're still friends.
Y'all are going to get through this?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
She was happy for me that I enjoyed the movie. Legitimately, genuinely.
That is big of her. I feel like...
You don't have to cut people off because they liked a thing.
I feel like this is the conversation that you have with me sometimes, where you're like, I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
I am. I'm always genuinely like. I wish I had liked The Flash as much as I liked this, but you know what? Soto said like they didn't mess with this movie.
They did, and I think that might be to its benefit. And for God's sake, can we take a moment here and acknowledge that may be part of the fucking proof of concept here? Like,
you think they did mess with the movie?
No, I think they didn't, and it was better.
Okay, yeah,
than some of the other ones. Like,
yeah.
For fuck's sake, just leave things alone. Let the creatives do their thing.
Yeah. Also, stop paying $200 to $400 million for a movie. This was $104 million, apparently.
Oh, I did interrupt you earlier. I was going to ask you what that movie cost, but fuck, they got that done for $104 million.
That is the low, like, it is somewhere between 104 and 120. I've seen some places
with marketing
say 120. They didn't specify.
Okay.
But
I mean, that would make a difference. But
Wikipedia and Google say 104 million.
I mean, yeah, that's probably with marketing. I would guess. But
if it was 120, I would guess that was with marketing.
I agree. That 16 is not going to be like the end all of my guessing here. But like, yeah, it definitely was the high. If it was the higher figure, I would guess it was with marketing. But
I did catch some anecdotal evidence of what you've been saying about not having seen any advertisements for Blue Beetle. I ran into my friend Drew last night, and he's like, "What's up?" I said, "I just went and saw Blue Beetle," and he said, "The fuck is that?" And I was like, "Okay, maybe there's a point there."
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It did feel minimal on that side for me, but it only takes about that much to really make a consequential movie. And, like we just talked about, the actual heavy CGI was, less than 20 minutes probably.
Mm-hmm.
So entirely doable. It just sounds like it was made pretty efficiently.
Well, if they had this stuff planned out for a really long time, they could have had all the CGI stuff done early on. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do is like shoot the CGI stuff first.
Yeah, so you have time to edit, reshoot, all that crap.
Yeah. But when you're changing shit every 5 freaking months.
Yeah, I don't know. It may be better for this movie that it didn't go through all that crap. You know what? I mean, I'm going to take the qualifier out of it. I'm sure it was better for this movie that it just got to be made.
Oh, and apparently Soto asked for a couple of days of reshoots, and Warner Brothers just said nope.
Yeah, I remember that. And I'm going to be curious because I've seen a lot of the other reviews. There's we're not alone, man. As people who talk about this kind of crap, it's not just us. There's a lot of other people saying, no, this is better than I thought it was going to be. One, because it just didn't have a lot of hype, and two, because it was kind of, I don't know, a little adrift, so to speak, as far as the landscape of where are we now, where are we going, in the DC universe, and what is that anymore? And it may or may not be connected. We'll have to see what the cells do. I don't think we're going to be alone. I know we're not, but I don't think we're going to be alone altogether. We're probably going to be in the majority here about, no, this was probably better than you thought it was, but just leave them the fuck alone. Let them make movies.
Yeah. Look,
let's take that away from it.
For anyone morbidly curious, the Rotten Tomatoes is 76% for critics.
87.
And you think it should be 87?
No, I'm guessing the audience score.
92.
Ah, damn, even better.
Yeah. And by the way, the critics was 201 reviews. On the audience, over 1,000. Yeah.
And with Rotten Tomatoes, in case I didn't make this clear a few years ago, the people who are supposedly in the Rotten Tomatoes, the freshometer, are basically just the people that were picked to do that, and in some cases, it's not even citable. That means fucking nothing. Just go with the 1,000 and what they thought.
I always look at what the audience rating said and take it more seriously, because I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I don't care who the hell you are. You're not a movie critic. You don't have heightened discernment over subjective matters like movies. You're not above the unwashed. You are an audience member. Go watch the damn thing and decide for yourself.
There is no Siskel and Ebert anymore, man. That's just not a thing.
I mean, look, I used to enjoy watching Siskel and Ebert because I was genuinely, they had smart things to say about movies.
Oh, but they did, but they also talked about it in a way that, gave respect to the fact that a movie had been made.
Yes, they did, and they also
and tried to
disagreed frequently.
Yeah, that was also fun.
And they might, playfully joke with each other about,
But it was actual critique back in that day instead of just a fucking hit job, like a lot of the shit that happens now.
So anyway, I thought everybody did a pretty good job. I didn't have any real notes. George Lopez, a little over the top at times, but he pulled it out for the dramatic scenes.
I mean, honestly, first 20 minutes or so, I think was just a very different story for his character.
Yeah.
At rest of the movie, fuck, I was with him. I was with him the whole time.
Now, the thing I hate the most about George Lopez's character is he's just copy and paste from the uncle in Black Adam. He is that character.
Yeah, true.
He's just like the guy that sleeps on the couch and may have a little more, he had more tech knowledge than the dude in Black Adam, but
he definitely had more.
And he had more character depth.
And not to take away from that guy in Black Adam, but I think Lopez has more charisma on screen.
Yeah.
Definitely more beard.
Probably.
Definitely more beard.
Definitely more beard. I'm just I'm tired of that trope of a character in these movies. I'm just tired of that trope.
I don't know. I get it. Same time. My favorite movie is Shaun of the Dead, and literally has a guy on the couch the whole time. I have to take my lumps here. For what you're saying.
I wouldn't say he was quite that. He wasn't quite that character, though. There was a difference. There's a real difference there.
Kind of, but it's a character trope that, as far back as God, a lot of like beat novels, like beatnik novels, were just basically, I'm the guy who's writing this, but my friend is that guy. And I don't know, man. I've always been such a fan of that particular version of things that I don't know. I don't know if that trope, if not just, I don't know, completely abused, would ever really offend me, because it's just in my wheelhouse.
I think it might be because it's so in my wheelhouse that I'm so annoyed by it.
Maybe. I think
I know too many guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me put it this way. As someone who has actively given someone a key to my home so that they could sleep on my couch when they needed to, without even telling me they would be there, I would just show up sometimes and there would be a person on my couch. I'm like, cool. All right, man. And just try not to wake them up. I don't know. As a lifestyle, I just don't think I'm going to be able to object to that. But you've been in similar situations, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give people keys to my house, but
people got to stay places.
Yeah, they do. I've offered, but I'm like, let me know so that I can let you in. If you need, I will leave a key for a temporary period of time.
I, at some point in college, had a couch in my bedroom, and at one point, a couple points, came home, found said person on the couch, and just thought, that sounds like a good idea, and just laid down on the bed and took a nap too. Like, sometimes a good idea is a good idea, man.
Fair enough. I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
I was tired.
I think we're just talking about a nap now. I'm talking about letting someone in and out of my house at will.
That too. It can be both.
I don't know how that translates to, like, no, I need someone to come in so they can remind me to nap.
Just sound like a good idea. Like the same way, like, you ever just seen a dog napping and just like kind of laid down on the couch next to it and thought like, yeah, come here, buddy. And just kind of cuddled for a second. It's kind of like that.
Okay. Do you have anything else on Blue Beetle?
Not Blue Beetle. No, I think I ran out on the Blue Beetle part.
Oh, okay.
I think we covered all the fine points. Better than we thought. Wish it had more of a platform than it does.
Yeah.
Going to be kind of a waste if we don't get to play with these characters more. I generally just wish the state of the DC films wasn't where it is right now when this was released.
Me too. Also, for not having actually been in the movie, there is a lot of Ted Kord here.
Oh, there is. Yeah, no, his presence is
deeply felt, I would say. And also, way more than I thought we'd get of Dan Garrett, but I'll be damned, those costumes, they're in the cave.
Yeah.
They're there. The tech, the Blue Beetle tech, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love the family is using Ted Kord's tech.
Well, maybe as a last note, I loved how much she just thought he was pissing away all this stuff, and yet, like Sarandon's character describes him as just basically an asshole pissing away the family jewels, so to speak, and he basically he's a fucking genius that was just trying to like be a hero.
Yeah.
And clearly pulled off some weird shit, including, I guess, maybe, I don't know, interdimensional travel or some shit at the end. I don't know what's going on with where he is right now.
Yeah, I don't know. But you know what?
Ghostbusters vibes almost to it in a way.
Yes, it did. It had like a Ghostbusters Afterlife vibe a little bit with like seeing, it was like you got Ghostbusters Afterlife without having Ghostbusters 1.
Well, even the last stinger for the 2016 Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah. But I'm just thinking about like his, Rhea's sister using the Beetle shield and using the different tech. Everybody using different.
I did love
it.
Her,
Just
by
felt.
Oh, I think I'm going to keep this. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
she was a lot of fun.
I had fun with it, man. I did.
I didn't have siblings that were like that close to me in age, so I didn't really have like a sibling experience growing up. But it's kind of like the way she talks to him is like my, I don't know, version of how I think things actually went for people who actually do have siblings.
Sometimes.
Just, it's not even productive. Just fucking with each other. Like, maybe harmful. Who cares? Not the point. Just fucking with each other.
Uh-huh.
Like,
to some degree.
She damn near ruins his job.
I mean, he did get fired.
Yeah. Was not her concern. She was fun, though. I enjoyed her sense of humor.
Yeah,
I liked her
she was good. She was good. I liked everyone in the cast.
Really did. I had I've not a single note for how anyone in this movie acted a single fucking scene. Nothing.
I mean, the slapstick George Lopez feigning and screaming, yes. But other than that...
Yeah, no. I still blame that on the writing for the first 20 minutes. And clearly, as you've said before, like when he was asked to do something serious, he pulled it off.
Yep. I did think Sarandon was a little over the top.
Really?
Just a skosh.
You know, I say that like I'm surprised, but it's always been a little bit her thing is that she's a skosh over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And for most of the movies she's ever been in, that's pretty fucking fantastic for what she's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not actually surprised with that either.
I was simultaneously appalled by her actions and her selfishness, but also felt bad for her because their dad left it all to Ted.
Oh yeah,
no, she was the one who cared about it, but at the same time, like
she has that one redeeming quality about her backstory is that like she actually was trying to care about the business.
Yes, but at the same time, like, is it because the dad was like, no, he's the one that's going to do something good with it?
See, it does.
You're
make
crazy as shit.
Yeah, because like, yeah, she was the one who cared about the business, but she's also fucking terrible and chicken or egg, right?
Oh my God. When the guy the music was loud, I couldn't understand what he said, what his actual name was, the guy that she kept calling Sanchez. And even after he'd betrayed her and screamed his real name at her, she was like, Sanchez betrayed me. Oh my God, shut up. His name was not Sanchez. Like, oh God. Like when he turned, like I was waiting on it. I knew he was going to, but when he like turned the tables and let Jaime out and basically sacrificed himself.
I remember that. It was a good bloke.
Because he very much did, looking through that window, get splattered.
He gone.
He gone. Man, that was a good beat, though. Like, I cheered. Like, I literally found myself in the theater. Like, when his sister is about to get taken out by all those, mercs, and then he just shows up and beats the shit out of him. I got into it enough that I was like, I punched the air and went, fuck yeah.
Get him.
Like, that is not a thing I generally do, get that excited.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, you're right about, like, she's got the backstory about, I don't know, like, not being chosen out of the two. And, yeah, I don't know, man. It could go a lot of ways. Like, was she just always a bit crazy and she thinks she was supposed to be given that because she cared more about the company, or
did she care about the company in the wrong way?
Yeah, or like you said, the dad also recognized, like, no, Ted's actually a decent person. She cray. Maybe I just leave this with Ted and hope for the best, even though he's a little bit fucking, wayward himself. Most likely, though, it was probably like there's some redemptive quality to her story that just, it's a dad from that time, and he probably just left it to the guy because that's what you do. You just leave it to the guy.
Yeah.
And she probably was overlooked in this set of events, if we were just guessing. So.
Yeah. And maybe, like, best case scenario for her character is that she was overlooked
for the wrong reason.
Because of sexism.
Yeah. And just developed into what she became. And that is probably the version that, well, I mean, not probably. That's the version that I'm going to think of this as, because I think that makes most sense to me.
I think it makes more sense to me that, yes, this is a real thing. She knows it's a real thing. Women get overlooked for these types of things all the time.
But she also cray.
And maybe the dad started seeing, like, because she built it with him. She was like his right-hand man for a minute. So, like, he may have seen some troubling tendencies. Like, well, why don't we make weapons? Why don't we do this for the government? Why don't we do
I see where your head's at with the money, baby, but so many people are going to die. What if we just do another thing? I mean, how many times do you have that conversation before you're like, we're just going to not hear her out on that anymore?
Right. And, it might be a little bit of going back to Scream, weirdly. Sort of the horror movies don't make...
twice.
I know. Horror movies don't make psychopaths. They just give them inspiration.
Yeah. Like, you think there ain't some Saw motherfuckers out there?
Yeah. Like, maybe she's just like...
I'll bring you names. It'll ruin your day.
I already have, certain tendencies. And now my father's a sexist and leaves it to my idiot brother, who, by the way, she was wrong about. He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he's not an asshole. Maybe he was an asshole.
I don't know. That could be possible. We don't know his character in this particular franchise well enough to say if he was a dick.
By the way, I do love that the comic community is coming out with Blue Beetle stuff more often now, because like somebody posted it, and I had forgotten about this, like an older panel of Blue Beetle talking to Booster Gold, and Booster's like, yeah, something like, I better get back, or Max Lord, because Max Lord is over the Justice League International. Mm-hmm. He's like, Max will put a bullet in my brain, and Ted goes, he wouldn't do that. He'd aim for your spine and cripple you. And then, like, so many years later, Max Lord is the guy who put a bullet in Ted Kord's brain. Like, I had forgotten about that old panel, too. I was like, what? Oh, man, that's good.
I didn't know
that's
that.
Good stuff.
I didn't know that was a predecessor. That's fantastic, though. I mean, I know about the cover. It's one of my great regrets is I didn't grab that one time when I walked past it in, like, a downtown Birmingham secondhand shop.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that cover. I didn't grab it. I was an idiot. I was a fool. It's a gorgeous cover. It's a poignant moment. I was in a hurry. I think I left my wallet in the car. I'm not sure. But
yeah, come up with reasons.
I often leave my wallet in the car if I don't expect to buy something. I don't just have like a card on me in general. It happens. But yeah, a fantastic moment. And genuinely, I've loved every version of Ted Kord and don't let me be racist on this one. I'm going to try. Jaime Reyes.
Yes.
Okay. Good looking out, buddy. I've loved every version of these characters that I've ever seen. I fucking love Blue Beetle. I really do. But it's not something that I've spent a lot of time exploring. And I've seen some recent runs that are in like TPB form that would probably be worth a lot of exploration. I'd enjoy the read. I'm at a little bit of a standstill right now where like I've bought so many books that I've kind of promised myself that I have to actually read them all or the majority of them before I can get more. But that's a weird promise to myself that like, I don't know, we're going to cross our fingers.
Yeah.
But on the short list of stuff I would love to get more into, it's some of those books. Because I've seen, little clips on Reddit here and there about, just a page or two that's posted from, I think it's specifically like book one out of a relatively recent run with Reyes Blue Beetle that really funny. Like I've seen it just a couple of moments here and there that they're good, man. I mean, they're just good. That character has so much fucking potential, and a lot of the people that have gotten to actually pen him are really good at it. I'm not even surprised this movie's actually as good as it is.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of the character's history, just in the sense that, damn, I didn't think they'd pull it off based on the marketing, but here we are.
Yeah, I didn't either, but here we are. I think they did a pretty good job. And if the humor falling flat for me means that, I mean, I got to listen to a bunch of families sit there and chuckle and laugh and have fun with it because they're not a jaded, cynical piece of shit like me. I'm good with it.
Some of those jokes really were in Spanish, and I picked up a couple of them. But
it wasn't
not all of it. Those, like there were a couple moments where I was like, "Oh no, that's definitely not built in for everybody."
Yeah,
But then there were a bunch of other moments where I'm like, yeah, I wish I remembered more of this.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. I legitimately hope that they do something else. If the movie doesn't do well, hopefully it does well enough that Gunn can justify bringing Jaime over to the Booster Gold show. I want to see more of the character. I want to see more of this story. I would love for a sequel to tackle, how hard it actually is to completely, radically change a company's mission statement when you've got a board and investors and all this shit. Like, as they don't, it's the end of the movie. You don't want to deal with all that. All we know is Jenny's not going to make weapons anymore. Okay, cool. They going to vote you out.
I mean, yes and no, but Stark did it.
Yeah, Stark did it.
Rand did it. Like, it's possible.
I would just like there to be some modicum of
like there's a back and forth.
There.
But if, as the genuine actor of a company, if you decide to do a certain thing, then maybe you can get away with it. You just have to show why whatever you're pivoting to can be profitable, and then you can basically get away with whatever. Think about it the other way around. If you did nothing but eco-friendly projects the entire time your company's been around, and then you were like, we're going to make weapons. If everyone was just like, oh my God, so much profits. Yay. No one would stop you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it, man. You feel good?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I felt good watching the movie. I was glad to talk to you about it.
Yeah, likewise. There was a good 20 minutes where I wasn't sure how I was going to lean, but then...
It's about the same point where I did something similar. It really was after that house raid, though, where I was like, no, I care about these people right now.
Yep. And I know it seems silly, but the gun-toting granny was...
It was on point.
They gave her enough of a maniacal little cackle. Like, she's 20 again. She's a 20-year-old revolutionary again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I dug it, man.
That bitch had a purpose.
Yeah. I believe it was death to imperialists.
A shameless, imperialist dying purpose.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to help support the show, patreon.com/DC on screen, where $1 a month gets you every episode without the ads, without the mystery sponsors, and $5 a month gets you that, plus whatever else we can figure out to put out. We probably do need to put out something new at some point soon. We're getting a little behind on that.
Yep. I got a couple
several plans.
Comics Castaways ideas.
And we were going to watch those gun movies that his top 5 or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, also, we got to do we got a couple books. Supergirl.
Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King.
And, what's the other one? Oh, I'm still working my way through the Superman vs. Hollywood book.
Yep. I've read the first 2 or 3 pages, and I haven't gotten to the rest because I keep getting distracted by Neil Gaiman.
Sidebar.
Not a particularly
I want
bad
you to get
problem
more
to
distracted by the Good Omens version of Neil Gaiman right now.
I know. I
want to talk to you about it.
So does my sister. I spent the day with my sister yesterday. No.
Which one?
Saturday. Brittany.
Well, I figured, but just checking.
I
actually watches some stuff every once in a while where I'm like, well, I did not know she was into that.
Yeah. But, Brittany was like, stop watching that stupid Craig Thompson show and watch Good Omens instead.
Like, right now.
So I'm like, we kind of started watching that Killing It show. It's not very good. She's like, don't watch that bad show. She's like, watch Good Omens.
I'm legit going to message her after we talk and just say, that speech, !
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being patrons if you're a patron. Yeah.
And
we will be back.
Yeah, in terms of movie reviews, I guess, God, it slowed down. When are we back again for movies?
Aquaman in December.
It is still in December, for sure.
Yeah, so far.
I thought so.
Now, I wouldn't be opposed to plotting out something, but I don't really want to talk about it on the show yet. But I have some ideas. But anyway, moving on from that. This next coming week, I really want to talk about all this horse shit about James Gunn being a liar. Because I feel like I have receipts that prove he's not. But
I think I've seen a lot of that, and I think a lot of the receipts you have are going to be valid.
Oh, yes.
It's on top of that, just give him a little bit of flexibility here, even if it isn't valid, just for navigating this transition.
Yeah.
Not all the fucking flexibility, just a little bit.
Or just stop being a dick.
Not trying to be crazy here. Just a little leeway.
But yeah, we've got plenty of news. We'll have something to talk about next week or this coming week. But for now, please let us know what you thought of Blue Beetle. We'll talk about it on the next episode. And until then, keep some DC on your screen.
I'm going to go watch Harley.
I do need to catch up.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Hey, thanks for listening to DC on Screen. Our theme song is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford of Galactic Engineers. The incidental music is by Michael Shackelford and Kevin MacLeod. You can rate the show on Spotify or rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Doing that really helps push our show to new listeners, so your help would be much appreciated. You can also contact the show at DC On Screen on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. To become a patron and get ad-free episodes and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/DCOnScreen. Your reviews and feedback may end up on a future episode of DC On Screen. DC On Screen is a production of Maladjusted.tv in association with Stranded Panda. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever damn platform you use.